Very warm welcome to all of you. Myself, Dr. Bharti, Principal, Faculty of Physiotherapy, RPIIT College, Karnal. Today, we will be learning about the topic cerebrum. As we all know, brain is composed of cerebrum, cerebellum and the brainstem. So in today's session, we'll discuss what is cerebrum. And cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. As shown in the diagram, it is the largest part of the brain which consists of right and left cerebral hemisphere. Cerebrum performs so many functions of the higher mental examinations, right? It performs the functions of emotions, intelligence, personality and control, the fine control of movements. Now, this is the inner structures of the cerebrum known as cerebral cortex, which consist so many neurons, like 100 billions of neurons that are present inside the cerebral cortex. That neuron bodies or the grey matter is the folded structures, as shown in the diagram. It is the folded structures known as the cerebral cortex. Now, that in cerebral cortex we have different sulci as well as gyri. Sulci that can the different lobes of the cerebral hemisphere, and the gyri are the areas that consist of more neurons to fit inside the skull and enabling higher mental function, and that each fold is known as gyri and each groove is known as sulci. We'll discuss what are the different sulci which are present on the cerebral cortex. As we all know, we have in cerebrum we have 4 lobes, that is frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe and the occipital lobe, and these lobes are separated by different fissures. First fissure or first sulci is known as central sulcus. That sulcus divide the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe, and second sulcus is the lateral sulcus that divide the frontal and the parietal lobe from the temporal lobe. So next we come to how they are functioning and how they are important to understand. Why? Because each lobe of the brain does not function alone. They function simultaneously and make a relationship between the lobes of the brain, between the right and the left cerebral hemisphere. As we shown in the diagram, that there are different lobes and that are separated by different sulci, that is the central sulci and the lateral sulci. And we have different areas in the specific lobe. So we will discuss that area known as the Broadsman area one by one. First of all, frontal lobe. This is the central sulcus, and frontal lobe we have motor area and the Broca's area. 2 areas are present in the frontal lobe. First one is the motor area, that is the area number 4, 6 and 8, and another one is the Broca's area, that is the speech area, that is the motor speech area. And another area that are present in the frontal lobe is the associated cortex that helps the motor cortex to doing the frontal lobe task, that is the speech, body movement, intelligence, emotions, etc. Now we come to the parietal lobe. That is the parietal lobe, and that is the central sulcus that divide the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe, and in that area we have 2 areas. In that lobe we have 2 areas that are somatosensory areas as well as associated area. Somatosensory areas are responsible for the sensations like touch, pain, temperature, vibration, and that associated cortex helps the somatosensory areas. Now we come to the occipital lobe. In occipital lobe we have visual area, that is the area number 17, 18 and 19. That area is present in the occipital lobe, which is responsible for the vision effect, visual field effect, and that interpret the color, light and the movement. Now last lobe is the temporal lobe. In that lobe we have auditory cortex, that means we have hearing area, and another area is the Wernicke's area, that is the responsible for the sensory speech area. In the frontal lobe we have Broca's area, which is known as motor area, and in the temporal lobe we have Wernicke's area, which is known as sensory area. That's all about the cerebrum. Thank you so much.